Alright, to create a building prefab, I'm going to first essentially blank out the map. So I'm going to, and it's actually easier if you start with the block you're going to use for your building. So I'm going to go to the all, like no windows, all. These buildings are a lot easier than the north, south, east, west, because then you have to worry about all sides. These building blocks are far better. In fact, in the long term, I'd like to get rid of the north, south, east, west and replace them all with the alls, because it's just so much easier to build with. So I'm going to select my base block for my building. I'm going to go to the generator, flat map, and I'm actually going to just do 1 by 1 by 1. Why? Because what that does is it gives me one block at the origin. If you look in the top left, it says 0, 0, 0. That's the origin. And so that's where the bottom center of our buildings or most of our prefabs should be. From here, I can now build the base of my building. So like I'm going to pick some radius here on the brush size. I'm going to temporarily click place in place, because the place in place trick, it allows you to, as long as you have one block, you can kind of extend it with place in place, and that's what I'm going to do here. By clicking on that block, I essentially extended it with a radius of 6. After that, I'm going to get rid of place in place, and now I'm just going to build layer after layer. So my first layer is just all walls. If we had doors, I'd like to put doors on there, so that makes sense. The doors go into your building. But if we don't have the building blocks, either you can have your wonderful artist build those doors, or we can ignore it for now. So I'm going to go to Windows, all that matches that same building, and then I'm going to click on the center here, and I can check with the coordinates. I'm over 0, 0, 0, and I'm going to add a layer. So now I have one layer of wall, one layer of windows. Then I can do this again. I can go back to wall, click on the center, ta-da. Go back to windows, click on the center. I can use the pick to do this really fast. So like that's a good 4-story building, passable. It's always good to add a little bit of detail on top, so you can, like the go-to thing for tops of building, add a few air conditioners. So I set the brush size back to 0, and I'll just place a few on top. You know, it just adds a little bit of detail, makes it look like someone actually uses these buildings. They're not boring cubes. If you're doing like smokestacks, like for a factory, scorched fire, I would put it inside of the smokestack. That's how I made my factories have some smoke. So like I built a smokestack, and I dug down into the smokestack a little bit so we couldn't see the fire part of this, because it is on fire. So you just see the smoke coming in. So there you go, there's your building. So now we can save it. So under, well, before I get to saving prefab settings, if you want to make it so it can be used in the level editor, or sorry, in the random map generation, not the level editor, you can always use it in the level editor. If you want to make it so it's usable in the random map generation, you can set if it's facing a particular direction. You can say that it's a building. Pretty much all buildings should be building. And then you say the type of building. If it's for residential, meaning homes, commercial, meaning like offices or stores, or industrial, meaning factories. You can say what blocks it's capable of spawning on. Probably the easiest is add all default grounds for the second one. Can spawn on top of blocks with names containing. Just click on that. So I'm going to say this is a building, and it is commercial because it's an office building. Once you set your settings, then you can go to save. So I can go to File, Save. I'm going to save it as a prefab. Then you give it a name. So it should be for you guys 7 underscore last name first initial underscore, and then give it a descriptive name. So large office gray. Save. Now that it's saved, now you can go into one of your levels. I'll just open one at random. So go into one of your levels. You can go to the prefab brush, hit open, You can choose your building. So I named mine large office gray. Yeah, I need to fix that. So the window goes away as soon as you click. But just hit cancel afterward, and then wherever your mouse is, it's going to try to spawn it there. So just left click and bam, building. And if you're creative, like, you could actually make it so these prefabs stack if you wanted, for example. Or just be happy with that. Ta-da, you can stamp them however many times you want. So I'll just make a nice variety of buildings, like 5 of them, and stamp away.